My name is Rachel Eden Monroe. I'm 25 years old, and on the night of February 19th, I died alone in my tiny candle-scented studio apartment nestled in a quiet Maine neighborhood, the kind of place with lavender plants on the windowsill and art prints on the walls. I was a graphic designer, freelancing, hustling, deep in the world of digital marketing. My life from the outside looked tidy, productive, even kind of inspiring. I had the right Instagram filters, the ceramic mugs, the mid-century desk. My job paid well. I had deadlines, playlists, oat milk lattes, and a quiet pride in my independence. I went to church when it made sense, Christmas with my mom, Easter with my niece. I said quick prayers when my car broke down or when the loneliness became too loud. But mostly, I handled life myself. I thought I was doing fine, maybe even great. That evening, I was lying in bed with my phone, flipping through the same 5 apps, procrastinating on finishing a pitch deck for a client. The room was warm from my little space heater. My diffuser was misting peppermint oil, and everything felt still. Until suddenly, it didn't. It started with this strange pressure in my chest, like a boulder had been quietly placed on top of me. I tried to sit up, but my left arm went numb like it was filled with wet cement. And then came the pain. Sharp, ripping, like someone had stabbed me right through the sternum. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't scream. I felt my body twist violently, and then darkness. But then I wasn't in darkness. I wasn't in my body at all. I was hovering, floating, above the bed where my lifeless frame lay, legs twisted in the sheets, phone still glowing in my hand. There was no panic, no fear, just the eeriest, most profound peace I had ever felt. I was watching myself, detached yet fully awake. I could see beyond the walls of my apartment. I watched neighbors across the hall watching TV, laughing, stirring dinner. I noticed someone walking their dog. Below. All of them completely unaware that just a few feet above them, a woman had slipped out of time. And then, the sound. It started like wind and waterfalls, but turned into the most beautiful melody imaginable. Like 10,000 voices singing in perfect harmony, voices that knew each other, voices older than time. I didn't understand the language, but I didn't need to. It wasn't made to be understood with the mind. As the song intensified, a light poured into my apartment. Not artificial, not sunlight, but something warmer, richer, and somehow alive. It filled the entire room but didn't blind me. Instead, it wrapped around me like arms. And from within that light, someone stepped forward. Jesus. He walked through the light like it belonged to him, and I knew, without anyone needing to tell me, that this was him. Not the Jesus from paintings or children's Bibles. He wasn't white-robed and pasty. He was radiant, tall, with warm brown skin that glowed like sunlit amber, and hair that shimmered like threads of ink and fire. His eyes, they didn't just look at me. They knew me. Rachel, he said, and his voice was everything I'd ever needed, like thunder wrapped in velvet, like warmth and authority and grace all in one. Come with me. I didn't question. I didn't hesitate. I followed him into the light. It wasn't a tunnel. It was more like moving through a river of living stars. The stars pulsed around us like they had heartbeats. I turned back once, my apartment, disappearing like fog, and felt a strange ache in my chest. What about my body? I whispered. Jesus placed a hand on my shoulder, firm, present, real. Don't worry about that now, he said. We need to talk. In an instant, we were no longer in the stars. We were standing in a garden so beautiful it made my heart ache. The grass shimmered like emerald velvet, every blade alive and singing in its own silent way. Flowers I'd never seen before, blossoms that changed colors as I watched them, lined the walkways. Trees whispered like old friends in conversation. The air tasted like spring water and sunshine. I wanted to run barefoot through it all, touch every leaf, inhale every fragrance. But I couldn't stop staring at him. Jesus looked at me with the kind of love that melted shame before it could even rise. "Sit with me," he said. And just like that, a bench formed behind us, simple, wooden, hand-carved. We sat side by side, gazing out over the garden. I felt like a child sitting next to a father she'd finally found, completely known, completely safe. "Jesus," I whispered, afraid to break the sacred silence. Am I dead?" He turned to me and smiled, gently, deeply. "Your body is, yes. But you, Rachel, you're more alive now than you've ever been." My breath caught. It was true. I'd never felt more awake. "So what happens now?" I asked. "Heaven? Hell? Judgment?" His expression softened, but there was something weighty behind his eyes. "Rachel," he said slowly, "I need to show you something. Something you never truly saw." He stood up, lifted a hand, and the garden faded like smoke. We were back in my apartment, but not the way I remembered it. The space was dark. Not dim, dark. Every surface was coated in a thick, black, oily film. The air itself seemed heavy, like breathing smoke. My walls were oozing. The floor pulsed with filth. I stared in horror. "What is this?" "This," Jesus said, "is how your home looks in the spirit realm. This is what sin creates, what it invites in." I couldn't believe it. My tidy little sanctuary, my plants, my books, my fairy lights, looked like a haunted wasteland. "But I'm not a bad person," I said. "I don't steal. I don't hurt anyone." Jesus walked over to my nightstand and gently placed his hand on my phone. "Tell me about this." My throat closed. I knew what he meant. "The videos," I whispered. He nodded. "For 6 years," he said, "you filled your mind with pornography. And not just watching, Rachel. Tell me the rest." Tears stung my eyes. "The masturbation," I choked. "At night, sometimes even during lunch breaks. I tried to stop. I really did. I deleted apps. I prayed. I hated myself for it. Jesus was still, kind, honest. But you kept going back. Do you know why?" I shook my head, sobbing now. I don't know why." With a wave of his hand, the room shifted again. What was once invisible became horrifyingly clear. Dark figures appeared. They weren't shadows. They had form, twisted, snarling, grotesque. Their skin was gray, stretched, and cracked like burned leather. Their eyes were yellow. Sharp claws, ragged wings, and teeth that looked like shards of metal. They lounged on my couch, crawled near my bed, hovered around my phone. "Demons," Jesus said. "They've been with you. Every time you chose lust over love, self-pleasure over self-control, you welcomed them." One of the creatures looked up, its grin dripping malice. "She belongs to us," it hissed. "We own her." I staggered, backward, my heart exploding with panic. "Jesus, I didn't know. I never meant—" He pulled me into his arms, shielding me. "I know, but ignorance doesn't cancel spiritual laws. Your body is sacred, Rachel. A temple. It was created to house my spirit. But you gave it to something else." Tears soaked my face. The darkness was suffocating. Then the scene changed again. We were now standing in a towering library. Endless rows of ancient books stretched higher than I could see, glowing faintly like starlight. Jesus reached for one. It was thick, bound in weathered leather with my name engraved in gold. "This," he said, "is your life." He opened the book, and instantly the pages lit up, showing my memories, as if watching a movie on living parchment. There I was, a little girl singing in Sunday school, then a teenager, lonely, confused, watching my body change, then college, curious, anxious, stumbling onto an explicit video one sleepless night. "This is where it began," Jesus said, stopping, at a page. I saw my 19-year-old self, lit by laptop glow, headphones in, hiding under a blanket. It was supposed to be harmless, just curiosity. But then came the touching, the rush, the shame. One moment of curiosity, Jesus said, became 6 years of bondage. Page after page showed the slow slide. Romantic stories turned into hardcore fantasies. Occasional slips turned into nightly rituals. I saw myself comparing every man I met to the men in the videos. Avoiding real relationships because fantasy was easier, safer. I tried to stop, I said again, so many times. I know, Jesus said, but you were fighting alone. You treated it like a habit. It was warfare. He turned more pages, showing every deleted app, every prayer of guilt, every journaled promise. You were sincere, he said, but sincerity without surrender is powerless against the enemy. He closed the book gently, and we were back in the garden. I felt completely undone, raw, like my soul had been cracked wide open. So, I'm going to hell? I whispered. Jesus looked at me with so much love that I thought I would break from it. Rachel, do you think I brought you here just to condemn you? I came to save you. I failed, I whispered. Over and over. I failed you. Yes, Jesus said, not coldly, not in anger, just in truth. But failure isn't the end of your story. It's often where true surrender begins. Then he turned and walked toward a gently flowing stream nearby. The water shimmered like melted diamonds. It gave off a soft sound, like lullabies being hummed by the earth itself. Come, he said. I followed him to the water's edge, my bare feet sinking slightly into the soft moss. I looked down into the stream. It was so clear I could see colored stones glinting beneath the surface, sapphire, rose, emerald, and gold. But it wasn't just water. I could feel it, calling to me. This is the river of life, Jesus said. It washes away all sin, all shame, all chains. But you have to choose it. I hesitated. What about everything I've done? What about the damage to my mind, my heart, my body? He looked at me, full of fire and mercy. Forgiven, he said, the moment you surrender fully. But know this, Rachel. While forgiveness is instant, healing takes time. Your brain has been rewired by addiction. Your view of love has been twisted. These can be restored, but not without effort. I nodded, tears falling, and then I stepped in. The water wasn't just warm, it was alive. I felt it moving through me, not just around me. As it touched my skin, I felt something lifting. Years of shame, layers of self-hatred, dark lies that had whispered in my mind for so long. Gone. I sank deeper into the stream, letting it embrace me. I felt like I was being unraveled and re-knit at the same time. When I stepped out, my skin tingled like light. My heart felt free. Not just better, new. This, Jesus said, is what true cleansing looks like. Not just apology, transformation. We walked silently for a moment, through the garden again, and then he brought me to another place, a bedroom. Not mine. This one looked like it belonged in heaven itself. Everything was soft whites and glowing golds. The air here felt holy. This, Jesus said gently, is what I designed sexuality to be. Sacred, tender, a gift between a husband and wife. He waved his hand, and I saw a married couple, radiant, glowing, completely united. They made love like they were praying, intimate, slow, honest, overflowing with gentleness. Angels stood above them, not turned away in embarrassment, but smiling, rejoicing. This is what I meant sex to be, he said. Not just physical release, but union, trust, a picture of my love for my bride. I was mesmerized. It was beautiful. And then, the scene shifted. Now I saw something entirely different. Pornography. But not like I'd seen it before. I saw the same grotesque demons that had lurked in my apartment. But now they surrounded the people in the videos. Their eyes, those men and women. They were empty, hollow. They looked used, puppeted, trapped. "This," Jesus said, his voice heavy with grief, "is the real cost. Every video you watched, every fantasy you fed, those were real souls, my children, caught in their own bondage." I covered my mouth, feeling sick. "I never thought about it that way," I whispered. "I didn't know." "I know," he said. "That's how the enemy works. He blinds. He convinces you it's just you, just your mind, just your screen. But sin always has a cost, and your demand helped create their supply." I was weeping now. Deep, gut-wrenching sobs. And then Jesus did something unexpected. He reached into his robe and pulled out a scroll. Small, rolled, sealed with red wax. "This," he said, "is for you." I took it, my hands trembling. When I broke the seal, the words didn't just appear on the parchment. They appeared in my soul. Every letter branded with love and urgency. "Tell my daughters that I see their secret battles. Tell them that what they do in private matters. That pornography and masturbation are not harmless, but spiritual doors. Tell them I love them too much to leave them in bondage. That freedom is possible, but it demands complete surrender. Not good intentions, not half measures. Tell them I'm waiting to wash them clean and give them a new life. That their sexuality is sacred. That they've been lied to about my heart. I am not angry. I am heartbroken they're settling for less." I held the scroll to my chest. It pulsed like it was alive. "How do I share something like this?" I asked, voice trembling. "It's so personal, so humiliating." "The same way I've shared it with you," Jesus said. "With love, not judgment. With truth, not shame. With hope." The garden began to fade again, softly this time. Like dawn pulling back the curtain of night. "Wait," I said. "What about women who are married but still struggle? Or those who've been abused? Or those who feel too broken to be healed?" Jesus smiled. "I know them all by name, and I've already made a way. You don't need every answer now. Just trust me. I'll give you the words." His final words echoed through me like thunder kissed by mercy. "Tell them I'm coming back soon. Tell them to get ready." And then I fell. Fell through light, through space, through fire and mercy and wind, until I was back, gasping for breath in my bed, eyes flying open. "Jesus!" That was the first word out of my mouth when my eyes opened. The paramedic hovering above me blinked in shock. "Ma'am, can you hear me? You've had a massive heart attack. We're getting you to the hospital now." The world was blurry, bright, loud, but I was alive. Somehow, after being clinically dead for 22 minutes, I was breathing again. My heart was beating. I had come back. The hospital stay was a blur. 10 days of wires, tests, and doctors shaking their heads in disbelief. "No brain damage," they said. "Your heart looks perfectly healthy." They couldn't explain it, but I could. I had been touched by the healer, himself. I didn't just come back. I came back new. When I was finally discharged, I stepped into my apartment like I was entering it for the first time. But this time, I saw everything differently. The memories of what Jesus showed me, the oily darkness, the demons, the spiritual cost, burned in my mind like fire. I didn't hesitate. Every website bookmark, deleted. Every app, gone. Every magazine, every hidden object from my old life, thrown in the trash. I went through drawers, files, storage, boxes, everything. Anything that could even hint at temptation had to go. I knew now I was in a war, and I was finally fighting it the right way. The next step? I called my sister. At first, I only told her about my addiction, not the NDE, not yet. Just the parts I had been too ashamed to speak aloud before. I needed someone to know. I needed accountability. She was shocked, yes, but also gentle. She didn't judge me. She cried with me. And then she helped me find a Christian counselor who, specialized in sexual addiction. That's when I started to really heal. I learned that I wasn't alone, that millions of women struggle with this too, quietly, shamefully. I met others in group sessions, teachers, mothers, pastors' wives, teenagers, all bound by the same chain, all too afraid to speak it out loud. And I learned the science too, how pornography hijacks your brain, reprograms your reward system, rewires your patterns. I began to understand the trauma beneath my habits, the loneliness, the emotional wounds, the ache for real intimacy that I tried to medicate with pixels and fantasy. But above all, I learned what true surrender looked like. Not just praying, "God help me stop." Not just deleting an app and hoping for the best. Not just trying to do better. Surrender meant inviting Jesus into every room of my heart, even the locked ones, even the shameful ones, especially those. It wasn't easy. There were nights when the cravings were unbearable, when stress or boredom or old reflexes tried to lure me back, nights when I thought I'd never be free. But every time I felt myself slipping, I remembered the garden, the stream, the demons, the scroll, and the face of Jesus, full of love, full of truth. I wasn't fighting alone anymore. 4 months after my near-death experience, I finally started telling my story. At first, it was just to a few close friends, then to my women's group at church, and eventually, online. I posted anonymously at first, then under my name, and then the messages started pouring in. Hundreds of women. I thought I was the only one. I've been hiding this for 10 years. Your story gave me hope. I didn't know Jesus cared about this. I wept reading each message. Some came from broken hearts, some from survivors of abuse, some from wives who couldn't be honest with their husbands, some from teens, just beginning their own battles. But almost all of them shared the same lie they'd believed. I'm too far gone. And now I got to tell them what Jesus told me. No, you're not. 18 months after my encounter, I can say this with confidence. I am free, not because I'm stronger, but because I finally stopped fighting my way. I started fighting His way. Today, my life looks nothing like it did before I died. I'm engaged now to a man who truly loves Jesus. His name is Caleb. He's kind, patient, and godly. We've set healthy boundaries together, and for the first time in my life, I know what it means to experience love that is pure and holy, not laced with fantasy or shame. We pray together, we dream together, and our relationship is rooted in God's design. I never thought I could have this. Peace, purpose, joy, real, soul-deep freedom. But here I am, living proof that Jesus can take the most tangled, stained heart and make it brand new. And I want to speak to you, the one watching this, the one still hiding, the one carrying secret shame, the one who feels too damaged, too dirty, too lost. Listen to me. Jesus sees you. He sees the tears you cry alone, the guilt you bury under performance, the battle you fight silently, believing no one else would understand. But He does. And He's not waiting with a gavel, He's waiting with open arms. The same Jesus who walked with me through that garden, who showed me the truth, who healed every shattered piece of my heart, He wants to do the same for you. You don't have to keep pretending. You don't have to fix it all by yourself. You just have to surrender. Not just the behavior, the whole heart. Let someone in. Talk to a friend. Call a counselor. Break the silence. The enemy thrives in secrecy, but Jesus thrives in honesty. He told me to tell you. Tell my daughters that I see their secret struggles. Tell them that what they do in private matters to me. Tell them that pornography and masturbation are not harmless habits. They are spiritual doors that let the enemy into their lives. Tell them that I love them too much to leave them in bondage. Tell them that freedom is possible, but it requires complete surrender, not just good intentions. Tell them that I'm waiting to wash them clean and make them new. Tell them their sexuality is sacred, and I have a beautiful plan for it. Tell them that the enemy has lied to them about my heart toward them. But I am not angry. I am heartbroken that they are settling for cheap imitations when I have something so much better waiting for them. So here I am, sharing this story, not because it's easy, but because someone needs to hear it. Maybe you needed to hear it. Maybe this is your moment, your wake-up call, your chance to step into the stream, to let Jesus wash you clean and start a new life you didn't think was possible. I was dead for 22 minutes, but I came back with a message. Jesus is real. He's coming back soon, and he wants to find you ready. He wants to find you free. You are not too far gone. You are not too broken. You are not too damaged. If you let him, he will set you free, just like he did for me. If this story touched your heart, please subscribe to the channel, leave a comment saying how great God is, and share this video with someone you love, someone you want to bless. There's someone out there who needs to know that they're not alone. There's someone out there who needs hope. Be the one who brings it. Jesus is waiting, and freedom is real.